I'm Chad Thaxton.
And I'm Shawnee.
This is Houston.
This is a headshot.
Actress, model, digital artist, bass player, poet. Did I miss anything?
I think that's about it.
I think that's about it. Joining me in the studio is Roxy Vandiver. Roxy, thank you for coming on the
Hi,
show.
thanks for having me.
What got you started on this journey of acting?
My becoming an actress story is not as fabulous as many. It was the result of a very boring staying up late night, surfing the internet. I stumbled upon the Houston Film Commission website, and I saw that casting young, attractive women for a horror movie. Thought, meh, why not? What's the worst that could happen? I emailed the director, look, I'm not an actor. I don't have a headshot. I don't have a resume. This is a photo of me. Audition me or don't. And he did, and I got the part. And then he recommended me to another director, and I got that part. And then he recommended me to another director, and it just snowball effect, and eventually...
Just because, how long ago was this?
This must have been about 5 years ago.
Wow, that must be great to be able to do that.
You
So,
know?
so they've referred you to these other people, and did they like cast you immediately, or did they say, well, let's have a meeting, let's set up an audition? How did that work?
I've auditioned for every role except for one.
And that one was just kind of given to you?
I kind of pulled a diva move, and I was like, I don't want to come to Austin, so can I just film my audition and put it on YouTube?
And that was enough for them?
Yeah.
That you've built up a kind of a successful acting career. You've done features, and there's other people like working hard and doing all this kind of. But some people have that story, where they're just like, I lucked into it kind of a thing. So how do you? I mean, how would you? I'm curious. How would you compare yourself to them? Or
I certainly think that training can be great for people. That it's very helpful for a lot of people. But when I go into a role, I just like to do it,
Yeah.
And I feel like training can get in the way sometimes almost, because
We had some filmmakers in here, and one of them was saying he didn't want actors. He wanted someone who could hold a conversation, and that's kind of, it sounds like that's what you're saying. You just go in and you just do it.
right, how would I act if I was in this situation?
Right.
It's
And you're able to channel that just fine.
right. I worked with an actress once who was very into Meisner method. Meisner?
I think it's Meisner.
Meisner, I don't know. See?
I don't really know.
And
what it is.
and she was telling us about this exercise they had to do where their acting coach made them pretend to be an orange, like you are an orange. I don't get that. I'm like,
Right.
how is that possibly going to help me in any way? Like, no. I feel like I'm in a tree.
Yeah.
If it works for other people, freaking great. Do whatever helps you. But me, I just kind of like to wing it because that's real. That's how life is.
Right.
You don't get to practice in life. So, and if in a movie, if you're supposed to be portraying realism and being a character, I like it to be like the first time. I don't even like to rehearse. For blocking, I like to rehearse.
Sure.
But I don't like to. A lot of the actresses I've worked with and actors, they wanted to, let's go over our lines. And I'm like, no, I want it to be like the first time I'm saying it.
In film, it does need to be real. How do you get that? And how would you be able to explain that? Explain it to people if you could.
I don't think you can. I don't think it can be taught.
It's just something that you can just do it.
I mean, I guess so.
That's really cool. I think that's a very sought after talent that actors have. And so that's, there are other people who can do that, of course, but that's really great that you can.
I think I can. It's worked out pretty well so far.
There you go.
You
So, what kind of characters have you played?
A lot of people seem to hire me for, like, badass parts. I think it's because, I have tattoos and I kind of project that image. And I've never played like the weepy damsel in distress. You know, I always play someone who's either evil or. Some advice I got once from my mentor was you can find a lot of girls who will take their shirt off on camera, and you can find a lot of girls who can act, but you don't find a lot of girls who'll do both. You know, so that I guess makes me a commodity. You know, that I can act supposedly,
What?
and that I'm not shy.
Right.
So I'm sure that hasn't hurt me along the way.
Do you want to play other characters, the characters who are the opposite?
Yes, of course. I want to play all kinds of characters.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think Houston needs to really make a big impact in the film industry?
And it seems like Austin is a lot busier than we are in that respect, you know, and a lot of, you know, famous directors and actors have fallen in love with Austin and made it their little pet city and stuff, and that's great, but I wish that they would do that more with Houston, because I think that we have a lot to offer,
Yeah.
you know, and I've, just by listening to other people talk, I've learned that, you know, the Houston film, we don't have a lot of incentives for filmmakers apparently, and it's difficult. I've been there firsthand dealing with locations and people and getting them, you know, like when we were filming Spirit Camp, we filmed at this beautiful resort out in like north of Cleveland, Texas, middle of nowhere, but it was gorgeous. And it was a running joke on the set that they probably thought we were filming a porno, because it's all these girls and we're all running around in cheerleader uniforms, and we're like, no, it's a real movie, we swear.
We're
you
serious
know?
about this.
And a lot of the movie takes place at night, so when we would shoot during the day, we would black out the windows. So we're like, these people, you know? So I'm sure that made them a little nervous.
Yeah. Well, have you heard of surely you've heard of the whole Astrodome thing? That you've not heard of that?
No.
Well, the plan to make the Astrodome one giant soundstage.
Oh, that'd be great. I think it's a great idea.
You know, some people have brought up the concern that, you know, they're trying to bring outside crews, outside talent here to Houston rather than cultivating what is here. Do you think that maybe having something like that could be a threat to the people who are trying to make it in this industry here?
I don't think so. When those big productions come to town, there's inevitably going to be, you know, maybe small roles for actors, maybe, you know, local crew members that might need that, you know, and there have been big productions brought to Texas,
Yes.
you know, and I know personally some actors who've been involved in those productions that are local actors that, you know, work in major studio films that come to Texas to film.
So what are the other sources if people want to get a hold of you? I'm sure they have used them before. Where do people need to go?
Well, I have a website. It's roxyvandiver.com. I'm also on Model Mayhem. I am on the MySpace, of course. And those are pretty much my main ways of being contacted.
Which one do you get the most? Like, are they just kind of evenly spread out? Like, as far as people contacting you, they just go to all of them?
Yes.
Okay. Which one do you check the most?
I check them all multiple times a day.
My last question for you is, who's cooler, Roxy or the characters she's played?
Me.
You're cooler than the characters
Oh, yeah.
you've played?
Not that my characters haven't been very cool, but I think that there's so much of me injected into them that there's really very little difference a lot of the time, you know? I think that, like I said, that's probably the reason I've gotten some of the roles I've gotten is because of who I am and my attitude and persona, and I've just been cast in roles that I think fit that already.
But you definitely want to show that you have versatility.
I would love to, yeah.
Roxy, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you
That's all
so
I
much
have.
for having me.